Ever find yourself wondering, does love really conquer all? Or are there some things in a relationship, some hurdles you just can't overcome?
It's a question for the ages, isn't it?
It really is, and it's what we're diving into today.
We've got stories of couples who seem to defy the odds, come out stronger after facing some pretty tough situations.
But we've also got those situations where even a ton of love just, well, it doesn't seem to be enough. So how do we make sense of it all?
And that's what's so fascinating. We grow up on fairy tales, that happily ever after ideal.
Right.
But real life, well, it's a bit more complicated.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's start with those couples who seem to beat the odds. We've got some incredible stories of resilience, like couples who not only made long distance work, but actually said it made their bond stronger.
Right, and that speaks to the power of commitment, doesn't it?
Hmm.
That when you add dedication to love, it can fuel you through some pretty tough times.
Absolutely. But then on the flip side, we see relationships crumble even when there's a lot of love.
Right, and that's where I think this one study we came across is so interesting. It looked at couples dealing with financial stress. And what they found was that the ones who approached it as a team, like it was us against the problem, you know,
Instead of pointing fingers.
exactly. They were much more likely to get through it. It really highlights how important it is to be on the same page, to have shared goals, especially when things get tough.
It's not just about the intensity of your feelings, but how you navigate those difficult moments together.
100%. It's about that shared commitment to finding solutions, to supporting each other.
So, what about the situations where it feels like an uphill battle right from the start? Are there actual deal breakers, things that are just impossible to overcome, even with all the love in the world?
That's tricky because what might be a deal breaker for one couple might be something another couple can work through. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own boundaries and limits.
Yeah.
But there are some common themes, some things that tend to come up again and again. One source called them, I think they called them perpetual problems. Things like having completely different values when it comes to family or what you want out of life.
Okay. Yeah.
Those fundamental differences can lead to constant conflict, especially if neither person is willing to budge.
So, how do you know if you're just going through a rough patch or if it's one of those perpetual problems?
Honestly, communication is key. And I don't just mean talking, but really listening, trying to understand where the other person is coming from.
Which can be tough, especially in the heat of the moment.
It really can.
Yeah.
But there's this one technique. It's called mirroring, and it's pretty
The
fascinating.
mirroring.
Yeah, you basically reflect back to your partner what you hear them saying,
Yeah.
paraphrase it. It helps to make sure you're on the same page, really understanding their feelings.
That's actually brilliant. It's like you're hitting pause before responding, making sure you've got it right.
Exactly. And sometimes, even when we're putting in the effort, we might need a little help.
Which is totally okay.
It is. Therapy, for example, can give you tools to communicate better, navigate those ingrained patterns we all have. Sometimes you need that outside perspective.
Right. Someone who can see the situation more objectively.
Absolutely. And it's a tough thing to talk about, but sometimes love just might not be enough.
Oof. Yeah.
Recognizing that, accepting it, it can be incredibly painful, but at the end of the day, taking care of yourself, your own well-being, it has to come first.
It's a heavy realization, but an important one. So, as we're wrapping up, what are some key takeaways? What can we keep in mind to give our relationships the best shot?
Communication, without a doubt. It's the foundation of any strong relationship. And remember, healthy boundaries, they're important too.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have your own opinions, your own needs, even your own separate interests.
Yeah. You don't have to be joined at the hip to have a loving and successful relationship.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
And being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
What are your non-negotiables, things you absolutely need to feel loved and respected in a relationship?
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Figure out those non-negotiables and don't be afraid to communicate them.
This has been so insightful. It's given us a lot to think about, and we hope it's done the same for you. As you go about your day, we want you to consider this. What are your personal non-negotiables in a relationship? What are the things that make love not just possible, but fulfilling, something that lasts? We'll see you next time.